this here is probably not going to go well. Probably will not make it through this whole video. I'm going to play it at 1.5 because I don't want to speed it up so much that people can't understand it. So we'll try 1.5, which would make it, I think, a 45-minute video. I mean, I might speed it up at some point. But it might be moot because there's just a certain kind of interaction that Gary's prone to where he tries to be a bully, and I'm just bored of it. So we'll see. We'll see if he gets to that, if he can stick to his subject, or if he's so scared that it's just character assassination. I don't have time to watch 45 minutes of a character assassination, compressed or not, with 15 minutes of stuff that I could answer. So we'll see. So go ahead, Gary.
All right, I guess it's a pure response video. We'll see how it goes. I'll just do it in pieces. It's probably just going to be lie after lie after lie, because that's all this guy can do is just lie, 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 lie.
And we all scan videos. I don't think.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I don't scan
Well, we're doing great so far.
Videos. I watch videos. I play the videos. In most cases, I play the person's video, respond to what they're saying. Obviously, your videos are just going to be a constant.
Well, you watch videos full time, so it doesn't really matter to me in the sense that there's a lot of points I make, like in this video that you're replying to about diffraction. I don't care if you watched that part and then didn't respond and ignored it. That doesn't make you better of a person, that you've watched every single thing and you still skip and ignore things, right?
Stream of lies, and would take forever because every sentence coming out of your mouth is just a big fat fucking lie.
Okay, this isn't going well. Gary notices everything I said. I've said a lot of things he's never answered.
Yeah, whatever. Again, this claim of the unsaid bullshit. That's right. I've only been here for years, sitting here saying, go ahead, make me a video. Go ahead, make an accusation. Go ahead, I'll respond.
And I have been doing that for years, genius, right? You realize I also have been here doing that and making you videos about my complaints. You have not answered all. You can't even. I'll tell you things years ago and you act like I never said them because you disagree. So why remember? Okay, I'm probably not going to make it very far.
I'll respond. There's absolutely no evasion of the videos. There's absolutely no indication that I'm running away from playing somebody's video if they're actually going to make a coherent point. But your videos are just long, boring, lie, 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 lie. Just make up fucking stories that have anything to do with the goddamn truth.
Fine, that's why I don't whine and bitch about this.
Yeah, because you are the liar. So obviously, what do you got to bitch about? I don't sit there and lie about your position.
Yeah, you do. You lie about my position all the time. I've already demonstrated that. And specifically, not just lie where you get something wrong, honestly, and you're just honestly wrong about what you think I'm saying, but things that, we know, and I've demonstrated that you did know. We've talked in person before, and you know it, and then you say, oh, you're a pantheist. All right, that sounds like a big fat lie.
You liar.
I've watched many hours of Gary's video. See, this is where I know how this is going. See, I feel like calling you a liar, and yet I don't feel like feeling like that. This is where willpower comes into play, and I decide whether I want to do the thing I have to do to keep doing the thing I'm doing. On science for years and years. The first time he ever blocked me was because
there comes a big lie.
He was saying that.
So let's understand the context here. So even if
he remembers
this was true, which it's not, but even
I haven't even said what it is yet.
If it was, so he's going to drag up something I said, say 10 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever it was, and then talk about in the context of what I have introduced, which is an entirely new theory, a unification theory over the last 3 years. So instead of paying attention to what that says, he's now going to...
Instead of paying attention to what I was saying, which is that I have been listening to hours and hours and hours of your videos, and I could have listened to every one of them 12 times, but what fucking good would that wasted time do in my life? Okay, so I've only seen 1,000 of your hours of video, and there's 40,000. Well, surprise, surprise, that's how it goes. Look at your views. People don't even make it to the end of videos. I do make it to the end of the videos. But I don't watch every single one, and I don't claim to remember having been paying close attention to every single bit. Why? Because that's why we need to restate our arguments. Because if you say one thing, a person goes, huh? And while they're thinking that, you said another thing, and they may not have noticed it. So I'm just simply honest about that process. You have a lot more time to watch videos. The process is the same with you. You're not paying attention every single second. Right now, for example, you don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking to the guy that was in my comments complaining about watching every one of your videos. And I'm not going to lie and say that I do, because I've always said the truth about that. Yeah? So I'm talking to him and I'm going, I've been watching Gary for years and years. In fact, it was one of the first things he kicked me about, which conveys that, there's been some argument and contention to it the whole time. That's true. And you're going off on a tangent that has absolutely nothing to do with what you're replying to.
Change the subject to something that has nothing to do with this subject. But again, it's a lie, so it doesn't really matter anyway, because what he's saying is obviously stupid, and you can understand how stupid it is by just understanding my position now and how incompatible it would have been with any position I've ever had.
Do you see, he's talking about, it's not stupid, Gary, when my point was, we've been to another guy that you and I have been talking about this for years and years and years, and you're agreeing that we've talked about it for years and years and years. You're certainly not arguing with me about whether or not I'm correct that the first time you ever blocked me out of the dozens of times was over a physics video.
Held in my life.
And you got real butthurt about it too, and you're like, well, that's not what I meant, you shouldn't pin people down. And I let you get out of it. I'm like, okay, I just wanted to make sure you understood that if, two spaceships are traveling in opposite directions, nothing ever seems to go faster than the speed of light to any of them.
Life.
Something could go twice the speed of light.
Right, I've never made such a point. I've never would argue for any such point ever. I've always stated that light has to travel at a certain speed, and it never has momentum. Ask Hoffladay. Hoffladay knows from years ago we had the argument about redshift, and my whole argument was that it's light.
No, what it was is that you thought it would appear like. You think that nothing can go faster than the speed of light, but you think there is an absolute positional grid in space or something that's measured by. And you had said if one person travels, say, from Earth near the speed of light in one direction and somebody travels near the speed of light in another direction, that person, it would look like the other rocket was going almost twice the speed of light. And that's not the case.
It's dumped out of the car. It isn't pushed out.
And you blocked me for saying that back then.
Dumped.
Then you modified your comments. And then over time you've reverted to believing that.
It has its speed. It doesn't have any momentum from the thing that's dumping it. So wherever light exists, it doesn't matter how fast the thing that produces the light is moving. The light can't go any faster, and it can't go sideways. Unlike in your relativity nonsense where you start talking about trains and shining light back and forth. Because that could never frickin' happen, retards.
No, you could shine light on a train. That's an odd denial. The spaceship was traveling away at a certain speed. You know that everything adds up, and there was an answer.
No, there was no everything adds up. The point was that if I'm holding a flashlight and I'm moving the speed of light, I can't shoot light out of my flashlight. And if I'm moving half the speed of light, I still can't shoot.
Okay, according to relativity, you cannot move the speed of light. So let's use 3/4 of the speed of light as an example. If you are going 3/4 of the speed of light, you can, I believe, shine a flashlight. And the light would go away relative to you at the speed of light.
Light out of my flashlight. The best I might be able to do is radio waves, but I'm not going to be able to shoot anything that can move any.
Okay, when I talk about light, I'm talking about electromagnetic radiation, not visible light that your fucking eyes picked out as the important light, but all light, meaning all electromagnetic radiation.
Any faster than I'm moving, so if I'm going at half the speed of light, whatever I'm going to shoot ahead of me is only going to leave where I am, okay? It's going to leave at the speed of light, and I'm going to be moving half its speed. So it's not going to be the same distance away from me if I was standing still.
And then you back off. Well, that's where you're totally wrong. Einstein proved this, and it's not because he was a cool guy, and so we believe him. No, it got demonstrated. It has been demonstrated as the distortion of space and time and mass have been demonstrated. Right? You could take a clock, put it on a rocket, make it go 10,000 miles an hour, and bring it down, and you'll see that the clock's drifted. Whereas if you just leave those two exact same clocks on the ground, they don't drift because they're accurate enough. Yeah, you deny data. You're not interested in any data that... You don't seem to understand that physics wanted this common sense kind of thing and concrete and old school thing you want, but they had to face the data you deny instead. That's your approach, is to deny the data. That's why I can predict that you'll never try to test your system, because your system is being designed not to fit the current data that you don't like. The fact that there was an absolute reference rate. Oh, is that a lie? No, that's my opinion, and it happens to be more well factually founded than your opinion.
Never backed off anything. There's always been an absolute. I've never backed off. Where's the evidence I backed off? Where? I've always never believed that there's any such thing as any dimension or any fucking goddamn change in anything or any boom. You go through some sort of.
Here he's changing the subject. The issue was about the speed of light, and he just talked about the speed of light again, about in this absolute reference frame, which is what the Michelson-Morley experiment really proves. There is only a medium that's at rest with every observer, right? If you're not under an acceleration, then when you shine a flashlight, the light goes away at the speed of light in your reference frame. That's the whole theory. It's been well demonstrated by data that you don't want to pay attention to. And so you're changing the subject to another thing entirely, and people like watching you because you talk yourself into a frothing frenzy. That's what they must like for some reason or other.
Change in frames? No, never, ever, ever. So just lie, lie, lie.
You didn't even talk about what I was talking about. You said, here's XYZ, but I wasn't saying the opposite of that. But it's a lie, because you're just you're like Trump, really, with your rhetoric. If you can call someone a lie, then there's a rhetorical effect, and da-da-da-da-da. Sycophants. And I'm not interested in that game. That's why this is tedious. Are you going to talk about... I'm going to have to fast forward into where you get to the part of my video where I'm talking physics. There's no absolute reference frame.
Says you, and you're wrong, and you're stupid.
When I said college... Right, says me. So just fucking try to memorize. It says me. I had to do the Michelson-Morley.
Who cares? It's Michelson, idiot, so you can't even say it right.
It's a Michelson, idiot. You can't say it right. That must be... Well, I still had to perform the experiment, Gary.
It's Michelson-Morley, not Michelson-Morley, but who the fuck cares about that, right? None of these details are important.
No, I was taught it was Michelson.
And that experiment has to do with ether. It doesn't have to do with the speed of light. And obviously...
It does have to do with ether, but the whole point is that the ether was supposed to be an absolute reference frame, genius. And the fact that it wasn't there, it was like the last man standing got knocked down. There is no absolute reference frame. If there was any kind of absolute reference frame, then you should study that experiment. The point is that by having a light of a certain wavelength bouncing around in different directions, and you're on this earth, the speed of the earth, it should cause you would be able to see this slowdown that you're talking about. In one direction, light would travel one speed, and in another it would travel another speed according to your measurements, because you were traveling and catching up with the light. And that's not what happens. Instead, when you catch up with light, the light still shoots away at light speed, but the wavelength gets shorter. As you catch up to it, that photon becomes a shorter wavelength photon. And for that to happen, time and mass and all kinds of other things that follow have to get distorted. And that's what fucking happens. Yes, you disagree, and I can remember that you disagree, but you always act like every time like it's a new revelation.
You can't detect how fast the light's going if your emitter and your receiver are moving.
Yeah, you can. You can, because think about it. We're moving on Earth. We're moving on Earth because we're spinning around. And it's not an inertial reference frame because it is under acceleration. We're moving on Earth. So you can do that. And you can measure it and see that north-south, not a direction we're moving, has the same speed as east-west, which is the direction we're moving. Yes, they're able to measure the speed of light using photons, as well as calculating it from things like properties of the electromagnetic field.
The mirror, the emitter, the receiver are all moving. You can't detect anything. You can't detect a change that way. One of them has to be in the nothing frame.
Experiment. And it convinced me that there is no...
Well, because you're stupid.
There's your magic... Okay, see, this is ridiculous, but there's your magic frame. like you could tell this thing. Okay, I don't know. I'm going to give you another minute, and I'll just play it and see if I can stomach to listen to you for another compressed 55 minutes, because you're pretty much of being an asshole.
At rest. Reference.
Why do you think it's okay to be an asshole online, but in person you wouldn't do it? Is the only thing you're worried about is in person people might come to fist to blows, and since that's impossible online, you're a shitty asshole. So the only thing keeping you in check is threats of that you might have to do real violence or that someone else might. Right? You don't want to have to do violence, so you treat people better. You don't want them to do violence, so you treat them better. Combination probably, or maybe just one or the other. Well, I think that makes you a real asshole, okay? Because this is a real place too, and there's reasons here not to have this. Like, for example, if you expect me to watch this whole hour, you just talked about my videos are long and blah, blah, blah. Here's an hour-long video. That's the level of your hypocrisy. And now you actually expect me to watch all of your videos. And you're treating me like this. Why should I watch this? This isn't for me. This is for your fan base. Right? This is for people that like watching other people try to make other people miserable. Well, it's not working. But I am getting bored of it.
Reference frame. I don't believe in that because everything is, the universe is built into a bunch of little invisible walls between all the invisible frames where we get to all be doing something completely different.
No, I don't say that.
There's no constant then.
See, this would be okay. Just go along with this. I don't mind if you mock my idea that I'm presenting to you. It makes you look stupid. I don't want to listen to hours of, you're a stupid liar. No, and you know what? You're stupid. And you're a liar. And here's a flock of fish. It says you're a stupid liar.
There's no constant. Anyway, we already know that the implications of their stupid warp to space are idiotic paradoxes like you could watch somebody die and then watch them be born. That kind of nonsense, and that's the kind of silly world that they think reality is.
Well, no, actually, that's when the speed of light comes into play. You couldn't see both of those things. Right? The warp means there's no truly simultaneous events, and that what's simultaneous for one person is not simultaneous for another, and that seems weird. But events that are simultaneous for you really are simultaneous for you. Just like in a human level, pain you feel really is real for you, but nobody else feels it. So the pain is just a word for them. They can imagine the realness of it as if, hey, what if it was happening to me? I can imagine that. But it isn't happening to them. It's happening to one person. But it's real. That's relativism. In space-time, turns out there's also relativism.
Anyway, I will play some of this more of this shit until I get through 5 minutes of it and come back again. But what a pile of shit. All right, 6 minutes in, and he hasn't made a single cogent remark related to a single thing that's in the substance of my unification theory. He says something, a vague reference to the fact that I said my arguments, my new mechanism, will fit most of the existing math. And I stand by that. I've obviously pointed out the places where it won't fit. It won't fit lensing, because that's bullshit. Light doesn't have any dimensional mass, okay, except in the direction it's going. And clearly in the direction it's going, or leading, obviously in those dimensions it can't gain any acceleration. It doesn't go faster into a gravity well, for example. So clearly it's not affected by force at all. Good reason to believe that is, yes, it travels way across the whole friggin' universe and it's still in one piece when it gets here.
You talk about things you could actually see. Did you ever see a photon travel all the way across the universe?
You know, it's kind of obvious. It's not getting pulled apart by gravitational fields. Anyway, but yes, when I said most of the math, I mean most of the math. Some of the math, bullshit. The math that relates to the two-slit experiment is just convenient to that experiment. It doesn't really relate. You know, your argument that two-slit math relates to all these other elements. It doesn't. The formulas change for each circumstance. If you want me to have Feynman quote, fine.
Well, here's an example of, you've seen every bit of my video and memorized it. MIT has a software package that uses the Lorentz equations, I think it is, or whatever, for optics simulations using the quantum mechanics math. And it runs a simulation, and it will work with lenses, slits, barriers, different kinds of light sources, because it's actually used by scientists and engineers, along with other commercial software that does the same kind of thing, to, you know, design optical circuits, like when you have a laser reading information off of something, or when you build a telescope, and so on. So you already know about that. So I guess since you watch every bit of every one of my videos and memorize every single thing that I say, and not just me, but everybody you watch, you already know that, which makes what you're saying now a lie of omission on purpose. On the other hand, I think you just didn't pay attention, because it's like, what good could it do you to realize there's software that's free that you could go write a program and simulate these things and see what the patterns that result are. But I'll tell you, the people at MIT that wrote this software and the open source people that have contributed to it, they did that so that they could use it. So they ran it, and then they compared it to the results of experiments, and they built, you know, optical benches and devices from it, and it works. And you think it doesn't, but that's just wishful thinking on your part.
I'm in saying that. I mean, when you're doing pieces of glass, it's different. They all have different reflective indexes. There's always differences in the formula that have to be specific to the thing you're judging the likelihood of. So there's no standard math here.
And the flexibility of the brain allows us to figure it could get.
I mean, I don't know. He's talking about the brain now. So yeah, so he says he doesn't find my description.
See, you don't pay attention at all to what's going on. Right now, the reason I'm talking about the brain, Gary, at this moment in the video was because I'm saying it's not like we can't understand it. It doesn't appeal to our common sense that we just evolved for our everyday life. But I do believe that we can work to understand it better because of the flexibility of the brain. That's what I was saying. You have no idea. It's like you're reacting to the last 5 or 6 words, and you only listen to 5 or 6 words.
Of the field unification is it all compelling, and he doesn't like the fish metaphor. That's all we get for the example. Like somehow it doesn't explain velocity and inertia.
Okay, that's bullshit.
To any criticism. The rules are it has.
Yeah, fuck that
just
shit.
Turns for no.
I don't need to be insulted. There's just not enough commentary. Yeah, you obviously are super sensitive and defensive about the fact that your physical system is made of nothing but soft underbelly. I mean, there is no hardened top to it. It's just soft underbelly. So you're very sensitive about the fact that it's wrong in a million ways. I'm okay with that.